Hey everyone, Dale here with LittleRVrentals.com. Today I'm going to winterize this my fun finder. This is an 18.9 fun finder. I also have a 16-foot fun finder. So the 16-foot is comparable to the 18-foot when it comes to winterizing, and most any RVs are we do it the same way. So the first step we're going to do is find the hot water tank, and we're going to empty the hot water tank first. So there's a nut right here, and I find a socket works the best. You might be able to get a crescent wrench in there or an open-end wrench, but I find a socket works the best. This is a 1 1/16 socket with an extension. And you want to go put the socket in and go turn to the left to loosen. Once you get it loose, you can take it off with your hands. If you release this valve here, it'll make it shoot out a lot faster. Make sure you check your rod for next year. This one's still good. I can use this next year. Okay, so once that's all drained, what I do is I usually leave this out for a few days just to let this dry out as much as I can. And then once it's dried out for 3 or 4 days, I'll go and I'll put this back in, and I'll just put it just hand tight, just so no critters get in there, but loose enough that it'll still dry up inside. You don't really need it to dry up, because as long as most of the water's out, it's not going to break. So I'm just going to put that in there. Oh, and you want to close this off too. Okay, so once in the trailer, you want to locate your pump. So I know my pump is underneath the bed, so I'm going to lift up the bed, pry it up. Your clean water tank, you want to find your clean water tank in the coach, and make sure that you turn the valve for that, and make sure you dump all the clean water out of that outside, so that this is completely empty, and then turn it back. Or you could leave it open, but I don't like bugs crawling in there, so I always close it off once it's completely empty. Okay, so we found the pump here, and this pump already has a line hooked up to it. What this is it's a 3-way valve. Okay, so if you have one of these valves, it will have a knob here, and so if you already have a line hooked up, if not, you'll have to hook your line up to here. And then what you do is you turn this valve the opposite way. So now that the valve is turned, now you put this line into your jug of antifreeze, and it will, when you turn the pump on, it'll suck it up and through here. It'll shut this line off from the water tank, and it will take it down to the pump so that you're not feeding back into the water line. So it'll shut this side off. If you don't have one of these, then what you'll have to do is go straight to the pump and disconnect the pump and go in with your cheater hose like this. Make yourself up one of these. It's like a 4-foot hose with an end on it. It's like a 3/8 hose with an adapter for a pump. You can get it at any RV supply store. And then you'd want to go in and remove this side, because this is your draw inside, and remove that and put that line on there, and then put that line into your jug of antifreeze and turn your pump on. And then that'll bring the antifreeze through the lines through your trailer. Also, when you're doing this, you want to shut this line off going to your hot water tank, because you don't want antifreeze to go back in here. And you want to shut this line off down here, because you don't want all your antifreeze going into your hot water tank, because we've already emptied the hot water tank. Now, I want to turn this valve, this is between the hot and the cold, so that now the antifreeze will run into the cold lines as well as the hot lines, because we want to winterize both the cold and the hot and bring it around. So when in the springtime, you want to make sure you shut this back off, otherwise you won't have any hot water. The hot and the cold will mix. And then you want to turn these back on and make sure that that's connected. What I usually do is once I get the system going, I'll give it a shot like this and turn it off so that antifreeze gets into this part here, because you don't want this to freeze. The bottom part I always disconnect, and the reason I do that is because I've had problems in the past with, there's a little check valve in there, and if there's a tiny bit of water in there, the check valve, it'll freeze and it'll snap and the check valve will get lodged. So then when you go to have your hot water, it'll run really slow, the hot water. So you want to make sure that you disconnect that, leave a towel, let it dry for a few days, or leave it off for the winter, and just make sure to put it back on in the summer. That way you know that there's going to be no water in there. So I'll show you all that too. Okay, for an example, guys, this is my other trailer, my 16-foot, and it doesn't have that two-way valve installed on it. But so what we'll have to do, you can either disconnect it down there and put your cheater hose on, or what I do is there's a connection right here, so I'm just going to take that off and connect my hose right to that, because that's the inlet. Just make sure you get it nice and snug, not over tight, but snug so it doesn't leak. There. So now this line just goes down to the water tank, so this won't have any water in it. You don't have to worry about this one freezing. It's just the ones going from the pump down here. You want to make sure you shut this off at the top, the tank, shut this one off, and turn this hot cold to the on position so that the antifreeze can go through the hot and the cold. And you don't want to fill this, so that's why you shut these off. And then we'll disconnect this one at the bottom when we're done. So now I'll put this into the jug of antifreeze, just like so. There we go, jug of antifreeze right back to that pump. And now it'll, when I turn the pump on, it'll suck it up through. We just want to run it until we see pink. You can start to see the bottle going down, antifreeze is going in. And we're getting antifreeze coming out, so we can shut that off. And now that we've got antifreeze in this side, that's good for the P-trap, because you want to get antifreeze in the P-trap as well, so that doesn't freeze. So let's move it over to this side, and we'll do the hot water side now. So wait till that turns pink. That's all pink. We can shut that off, and you want to watch your bottle that you don't get too low. And make sure that the line is all the way in. And then we'll go to the bathroom and we'll do the same thing. Pink. Wait till it turns pink. And then same with the hot. And then we want to do, I have a shower and combined here, so I'm going to pull the shower down, turn the water on, and do the shower head as well. Just enough so it's pink. Shut that off, so now that's been winterized. Just let that drain in there. And then we're going to do our toilet. Pink. That's great. That's done. So we have our main sink, our bathroom sink and shower head. Your shower head may be different. And then we've done our toilet. Don't forget about your shower drain. It needs a little antifreeze as well, so it doesn't freeze. Now the last thing we have to do is the outside shower. Well, we want to make sure that our bottle isn't getting low. I may switch it over to a full bottle here. Okay, and then on the outside of the trailer we want to locate the shower port. Get our hose here, put our hose in, and turn your valve on. So first we'll turn the hot on, so it runs pink, and then we'll turn the cold on. runs pink, and now that has been winterized. So is the line. And close that back up because we're done with that. Okay, this is your intake water. So you want to make sure that you winterize the pipe that's going from here to the inside as well. So with the pump off and half the pressure depleted, you want to just press inside here and let any water run out and let the antifreeze run out if there's any. Okay, I've just turned the pump on again, waited till it stopped, and then I turned the pump off, and now I'm going to press it again. And now you can start to see the pink. I'm probably going to do it one more time. Okay, this is the last time. Pump is off, but it's built up pressure again. Now you can see all the pink. So we know that that's winterized. So that's good. Put the screen back in. And then put the cap back on. And there we go. What I also like to do is open the sewer valve. And I like to open the gray water, let it drain all the way out. The black tank should be okay. Just make sure you put antifreeze in it. Make sure you wash it out really good before you winterize it. What I also like to do is put a little bit more antifreeze down the toilet after we're all done, just because you want enough in the holding tank so nothing freezes up in the holding tank even though it is empty. Make sure you leave a little bit in the bowl so that seals don't dry out. Okay, and then once you're done with the hose, and then just disconnect this back, take this off, and then put this line back on again. So that when it comes to springtime, all you have to do is add water and turn on the pump. Okay, on this 16 foot, I'm going to disconnect the bottom line, let any water run out, making sure that this valve is closed. And there is a washer in here, so make sure you don't lose the washer. And then if you stick your finger in there, you'll feel the little valve. You can just push that so all the water runs out. There's not much in there. Just push that valve so that if there's any water in here, it'll run out. Because otherwise, if there's water in here, in this check valve, it'll break the check valve. So just let that run out by pushing it. And then I just leave this turned, and I leave the napkin there. I leave the piece of paper towel there until springtime, and then I put it back on again. And the top one, as long as you have antifreeze in there, you just turn that a little bit. You can also take this one off too if you want. Yeah, there's no spring in the top one, just in the bottom. There was not enough water in there to cause any problems. So it's just the bottom one you have to really worry about. It is a good idea to leave your fridge door open. I always leave my both freezer and fridge door open for the winter. This reduces mold from growing inside the fridge, or even leaving it open a crack, but I always leave them wide open for the winter. So another tip here too, you want to make sure that you disconnect your battery and take it out and put it in a warm place in a garage or shed, and keep it trickle charged for the winter, because if you leave it in there and it does go dead, it will it's really hard on the battery. It may even break it or kill it. Definitely remove your battery for the winter. Just take those off, pull it out, and store it away. And that concludes this video on how to winterize an RV. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit like below and hit the subscribe button here for more videos in the future. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.